The church was looking for that. They was looking for the person to sign the Abraham Accords. The Abrahamic Accords is the peace agreement between Israel and the Palestinians. That's what it is. But after we as the church voted somebody in, then that person signed that covenant. It sent the church upside down, because they're like, well, now you don't hear nobody preaching about it. But the elephant in the room is still the elephant in the room. There's a person we've been looking for to come on the scene for 100 years, whoever signs the Abraham Accords. So if we were Republican and a Republican signed it, they deny it. And if we were Democratic and a Democratic man signed it, they deny it. And the Republicans would have been saying, oh, it's Bill Clinton, or oh, it's, Joe Biden, or whoever. And vice versa, because they're just political, where we need to be biblical. It don't matter to me. Like somebody said, well, this is how much they're just getting crazy over this. They said that it could be two terms in that in the Greek. One says he signed it, and one said he confirmed the covenant. So they're going to split the hairs and go, well, okay, he signed the Abraham Accords, but he was not the one who confirmed it. I mean, that's how crazy this thing's getting, but it's happening that way. And then now when it gets to the point that the same person that signed the covenant, just as it says in Daniel, will betray the covenant. Well, that's just what's happening when they're taking over Gaza. When they decided to come out of nowhere and said he was going to take over Gaza, they are splitting God's land. Period. There's no two ways around about that. That's just the way it's happening. So, we talked about the 7 heads and the 10 horns, okay? And the way I also see that prophetically is the same way. You've got to understand this. I'm just not picking things out of the air. These are biblically established truths and facts. You can go on it on the last week's video. I'm going to get it uploaded to my Facebook channel somehow, or get Greg to get it on television. But if not, this one will be good enough. That's why I'm doing this again. Some of it. A lot of this is new. Some of it was from last week. Once again, we had 7 days, right? Representing, it would be, each day equals 1,000 years, correct? So that'd be 7,000 years consumed just like that, God showed us. Then when you talk about where is this man coming out of? Where will the Antichrist come out of? Well, pre-Israel, he could have come out of anywhere. Pre-Israel, well, they said the 10 nations and this and that. They always had that kind of, but they didn't really know who the 10 nations were. Until you look back at Daniel 1 and you see the Nebuchadnezzar, the main image of Nebuchadnezzar, when it gets down to the feet and the toes and it's clay mingled with iron. Then you take God's perfect number of 3 and or 7. That's God's favorite 2 numbers, 3 and 7. So if you take one image plus the number 3, it brings you to the next image where there's 4 of them. There's 4 beasts in Daniel 7. We know we had a lion that had eagle's wings, right? A lion with eagle's wings. Then we had a bear. Then we had the lion, the bear, the leopard with the wings on its back, and then the beast unlike any other beast, which would be the United Nations. Okay, so 4. Then you take that 4, the beast grew to 4 there, you add another 3 to that, and that brings you to 7. The 7 represents the G7 on the earth today. The 7 heads are the G7. Okay, now this is who's in the G7. Listen, the G7 countries are this. The Antichrist must come out of this group. The Antichrist cannot come out of anywhere over in Africa or some guy running around saying he's Jesus. That's not going to be the Antichrist. The Antichrist must come out of the 7 heads and the 10 horns. I don't care what people tell you, he will come out of this group. It ties your whole Bible together. Daniel 1, Daniel 7, all the way to Revelation 12 and 13. So listen, these are the G7 countries. France, we know who that is. They were in the 4. Germany, they were in the 4. Now Canada, Italy, Japan, Great Britain or the UK, they're in there, they're the lion, and the good old USA. Then, all of a sudden, I've been studying and preaching this like for 20 years. And all of a sudden, when I was going through this yesterday and this morning, I saw here it says, as well as, because I was saying United Nations was a part of that. And I was just looking at it because all the beasts combined make a beast unlike any other beast. And I was going out on a limb prophetically saying that because no one else was saying that. And I was saying, that's the beast unlike any other beast. It's over 70 nations comprised together as one beast that's designed to rule the world. Then I asked the smartphone this morning, confirm to me who the G7 are. And I almost fainted. They put this in. After they said the United States, it said as well as the United Nations, because they are listed as a non-enumerated part. So they are a part, but they're not numerated. They're not numbered in there as it, but they are a part of it. I've been saying this for years that was the United Nations. Then a lot of people think the United Nations is over there in the desert somewhere. The United Nations is based in New York City. It's like where everything else, where the Great Babylon exists. That's what it is. That's what New York City is. So look where everybody else is from in our government. Look at the New York Stock Exchange. That's everything that's talked about in Revelation 18 and 19. It's just so clear when you begin to see this. Then to that 7, you're going to add 3 more to complete the entire cycle over the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The 3 that are added or will be added is Australia, India, and South Korea. They're already apart. But Australia, India, and South Korea. Out of this 10, out of these 10 horns, which a part of the 10, or the 7, a part of the 7 is the 4, and the 4 started with the 1 Nebuchadnezzar image. So why is Trump building gold images everywhere of himself, comparing himself to Nebuchadnezzar? But making sure that this is just pride to the most extreme. He wants to make sure that his image is bigger than what Nebuchadnezzar's image was. So they're building these huge statues that are bigger than Nebuchadnezzar. I can't make, I know what's happening, but it's just, So, as we continue to go through this, we looked at Daniel 7. It talks about a little horn comes out. So you got to know when. When Daniel 7 is prophesying ahead and talking about a little horn coming out of these 4 beasts, he couldn't have come out any time before Israel became a nation. It could have never happened. That's why all those years, 1,484 years, they were calling prophets false prophets. They weren't really false prophets. They were prophets that just missed the mark. And a lot of people, it's easy to throw stones until you really step into the prophetic. You're not 100% all the time. You're just doing your best. You're laying it out there. So according to the way God's judging them, they're walking in the light that God gave them. God knew pre-Israel there was no way the Antichrist could have been on the earth. He knew that. He didn't give them the ammo. It would be like telling someone to go out and shoot archery and you don't give them any arrows. You know they're not hitting the mark. They don't even have an arrow, right? They're out there just winging it. Ping, boom, toom. Right, Greg? I mean, you ain't going to hit no target. You ain't got no arrows. Well, God didn't give them any arrows. When Daniel asked Gabriel in Daniel 11 and 12, he said, tell me the interpretation of this dream. What is this about? And that angel Gabriel said, listen, you shut the book up. Seal the book up. Shut it up. And you're going to go to sleep. You're going to rest in the earth. He said, what I have told you is saved for the last generation. Listen, who is the last generation? Yes, that generation from the time that Israel became a nation, the Messiah that we serve who put this Bible together, he said from that time, from the time that the fig tree puts forth her leaves, that generation is not going to pass. If you are post-Israel, you're a part of that generation. I don't care what you say generation is. You're a part of it if you're post-Israel. Because that generation, am I making that clear enough? Is that breaking through? And you got to say, hello, pay attention. The Messiah said from the time that nation was birthed again, that generation will no means pass away until all these things have been completed. We are a part of that window. We are that generation. We can just agree to disagree on all the other points and all this stuff, but I am telling you, we are coming to the end of the age. You're not looking at it. You're not looking at 1,000 years before the Messiah comes. You're not looking at 500 years. You're not looking, they maybe say 100. I'm with this. Psalms 90 verse 10. It tells you specifically in your Bible. You got 70 years plus 10, a total of 80. Max. Max. So the heat is turning up. The Bible says in Matthew 24, it says like birth pains upon a woman. They're going to become more severe and more rapid. Like boom, okay, now all of a sudden, the first 3.5 years, listen, the first 4 years could be the first 3.5 years. The second 4 years could turn out to be the second half, is the way I'm looking at it. Because we know God's time clock only moves when he's really dealing with Israel. That's how we figured out Daniel's 70 weeks. Daniel's 70 weeks was only moving when he was dealing with Israel. I'm applying that now, just like they applied it then. Because this is the only way you can put all this together. And plus, you got to read the book of Revelation. If you're not reading Revelation, you're lost. I've been studying this one book for 48 years. And I'm just beginning to see some of this stuff. It's like I'm getting revelation as I accept what God gives me. I mean, he just gives me something more. And that's why I always say that it's progressive. Revelation is progressive. It's like building a house. You build it on this blocks, that blocks. You build your footer, you build your foundation, you dig a footer, build your foundation, you build upon that. That's what you do prophetically. So we've seen all these things happen. The United States, listen to this, because I'm telling you, we're not picking out of the world. We're not looking for the Antichrist out of the entire world. He is not coming out of the entire world. He's coming out of the 7 heads and the 10 horns. He's coming out of the G7 and the Democratic 10. Those are the nations he's coming out of. I told you what they were. He will be out of that group. So you can agree or disagree with what I'm saying, but you got to agree with he's coming out of that group. People all over the world are asking, what is Agenda 2030? And are we the last generation? Is this the end of the world? And how close are we to the battle of Armageddon? I've addressed all these questions in my new book, Agenda 2030 and The Last Generation. I cover over 75 powerful prophecies that have already been fulfilled in a divinely appointed time called the last generation. Here are a few of those chapters. The One World Order and the Great Reset, World War III, the revelation of the 7 heads and the 10 horns. How do you calculate the number 666? And what is the importance of Russia or Israel being at war? The Abraham Accords, what does that mean? These chapters solidify the importance of prophetic insight into Agenda 2030 and the last generation. These Bible prophecies are being fulfilled right now in your lifetime. It is extremely important for you to understand why. For a minimum donation monthly of $20, we will include this book as a bonus for you. Please put Agenda 2030 in the comment box. God bless and love every single one of you. They already know the plan. They already know what countries they got to knock off. They know they got to absolutely annihilate Iran before Iran understands that it's a religious war. Once they understand they're going after the temple, oh, hell's break. Really. That's what the final goal is. That's what I'm saying. I believe in my spirit is the final goal to this. All these strategic moves are not about whatever they're saying they're about. All this stuff about Epstein files and all this stuff, I mean, it breaks my heart. You guys know that what I say and what I post, it makes me disgusted. I'd throw them all in jail. I'd do whatever I had to do. It don't matter. But that ain't what this is all about. None of those people are going to go to jail. Somebody's going to take the bullet for that, but none of the top people are going to go. They'll never go to jail. Forget it. Never. So that's not going to happen. So we need to keep our eyes on the prize. And now we need to say, okay, they're already making a temple coin. Well, who's on the temple coin? It's Trump and King Cyrus. Well, who was King Cyrus? King Cyrus, there's a coin made that you will not be able to get into the Temple Mount without paying with that specific coin. And there are 2 people on it. And they are both Gentile people that were recognized as a Messiah to Israel. One is Cyrus, who they've been saying Trump is King Cyrus ever since day one in 2017, which I couldn't put together until recently. So one of them is King Cyrus, and the other one is Trump himself. So why in the world would you have a temple coin that the only way you could get into the temple to pay to be in there, and you got 2 Gentile leaders or kings that were leaders over the entire world that rebuilt the 3rd temple? Unless you know he's going to rebuild the temple or have already started it and we don't know it. Pete Hegseth says he's on. I mean, I watch these videos where I'd never say this. I mean, the live shots, we got to go back and research and find them and dig them up and find out what's true or not. The first time that he put Hegseth up to the mic, he proclaimed that Trump was going to rebuild the 3rd temple. Why would he say that? Why would anybody say that if they weren't going to rebuild the 3rd temple? Because they already got the coins. They already got their names on it. They already got their pictures on it. They already got their engravings on it. It's all there. So I'm just saying, I'm painting the picture of where, and then the other thing is this. Before they added the United Nations, the final beast, the United Nations was never on there. And I look back when we voted for Trump the first term, and I looked how much he stood against the United Nations. And he said, we'll never be a part of the United Nations. He'd get up there and just blast them. Well, what's happening now? They made him, the United Nations had to pick one guy in the entire earth to represent them as the international peacekeeper, the president of peace of the United Nations. Worldwide dominance. One man. So guess who they picked? They picked Trump. So now he, really, the United States and what he's doing here is like down over here. I mean, it's minute. Because if anything happens over here and it just don't go good or whatever it does, he holds that position of the strongest person on the earth, representing the beast that is unlike any other beast. He is a leader of that. He's the leader of the peace of that board. They have an international board of peace. An international board of peace that the United Nations put forth, and he is the main man. So I'm just saying, if we narrow this down, a 7,000-year window, into this window, and then we narrow it down to the 7 heads and the 10 horns, tell me anybody else that can match more things than what he's matched. I mean, he's like through checking off, and then he's telling us that he's doing it. He will tell you what he's doing before he does it. That's the law of the cosmos, where anybody demonic or angelic, that you're going to do something to that level, you got to prophesy it one way or the other. You got to tell the people what you're going to do actually before you do it. So he does that. He's done it all the time. At the meeting that most people don't even know the meeting he was at the Turning Point meeting. He was at one of the biggest Turning Point meetings that they had, and he proclaimed to the Christians, I love you Christians, I love you Christians. You'll never have to vote again. True. Another truth, he said. A truth you don't want to know, but this is the truth. You may never have to vote again. If he gets in and does what he does, you'll never have to vote again. And that's what he proclaimed. So the only thing I'm saying is I'm just saying what he says. It's a matter of taking this man at his word, because everything he's done so far he's doing, and you have to understand biblically where this is headed. Where are we headed? That's why the great sign took place September 23rd of 2017. Because it started that final window on God's prophetic timeline. We are in that window. There's no two ways about it. And this stuff is happening. Iran is a huge move biblically. Iran is biblical Persia. Iran is tied with the only other Gentile representative that was ruling over Israel, that they declared him as their Messiah, their worldwide leader, that was not a Jew. And this is exactly what they're saying Trump is. I'm not saying it. I'm just telling you what he's saying. And many people don't know these things are being said. And even if they do, they don't know the Bible. I'm trying to show you biblically. Then you tie in, if he's in 1/3, 1/16, one little, I mean, they got thousands of these tapes from the Epstein files. Thousands. Like 3 million not even been seen yet. To even think that people are even associated with somebody like that just makes me sick. But yet people turn a blind eye because they've been so brainwashed politically. And that's what the Bible says. I'm telling you, some people got to come out of the public, just the political view that you get by watching that stupid television. If you would only know the Bible as much as you know your television, and think that FOX, ABC, CBS, and NBC, or CNBC, none of them are telling you the truth, the whole truth. They're just telling you what they want you to know. We're in the world, but not of the world. Listen, weren't we ahead of the curve on the COV19? Don't even get me on that thing. Who was the head of the warp speed? Not Fauci. Fauci's off the hook. He's on some $1 million island just sitting back eating grapes. Well, if he was the devil they said he was, he'd be in jail. The only other guy that said, listen, I'm responsible for killing all those people, was Trump. He's the only one. I hate to say it because I voted for the guy. That's the only reason why I hate to say it. But other than that, if he says it, I'm just saying what he says. He said, that's my baby. Nobody will ever take that from me. That's his exact quote. Let it be. That's what I did. I saved a lot of people through that. If you want to believe that side, then believe him. If not, I know a lot of the people that died from it. So I'm just saying, I think we need to put our spiritual eyes on when we're regarding this stuff, especially what really kicked us into overdrive is Iran. The move on Iran, if you link it up with the King Cyrus and everything that they're doing and why they're getting Iran, we don't need their oil. So if you don't need their oil, what's it all about? If you get them all distracted and you could bomb the daylights out of them, and you could take their Air Force out, take their Navy out, bomb everything, take everything out, and then you want to make a move on the Temple Mount, it's a heck of a lot easier than some guy coming up and saying, oh, I'm going to go to Israel and take over the Temple Mount. That's not a smart military move. Do you understand? I'll just let it at that. There's what's really scary about this to me is there is so much more I could share. There's so much more I could share. But I just wanted to get this on video, which I don't know if they'll ever air it or they may erase them like they did before. But whatever happens, happens. I can only do my part. So share it, get it out there, get it to your people, save it, do whatever you have to do. And if the shoe fits, wear it. If the pieces of the puzzle align like they're aligning, that's what got me. I'm a truth seeker. I'm seeking the ultimate truth. His name's Jesus. I don't care about nobody else politically. I'm following Jesus. And I thought I had voted for a guy that really was all in for representing us, and I'm finding out he's not, in my opinion. Yeah, God puts them in order. That's what I mean. God, yeah, it says God sets the kings up. He said, I put Pharaoh in his position for this reason, that I may show my power in him. Just like this, the saints will be handed over into his hand. I was like, Lord, there's no other way we could have voted. We couldn't have voted the other way and be right where I thought we should be anyway. But either way, what happens has happened. This is Pastor Ron, and I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in for today's show. We thank every single one of you for your prayers and also for your financial support. And I'd like to also thank every single one of you to give a one-time donation today to help us further the gospel of Jesus Christ. So if you'd like to mail in your donation, we ask that you would mail that to P.O. Box 7, Derry, Pennsylvania, 15627. If you would like to make your donation online, you could do that at our website at crossingpaths.org. Love and God bless every single one of you.